Hello and good evening. My name is Alex Adams and I'm the current Secretary of Energy in the United States of America. I'm sure you're aware, but 3 years ago, in early 2022, Russia began a large-scale invasion of Ukraine. Despite previous attempts to join NATO, Ukraine is classified as either a NATO partner or not a member of NATO at all. A core tenet of the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, NATO, is that members will act in accordance with the idea that an attack on one is an attack on all, meaning allied states should work together to protect each other collectively. This leads us to our issue. With Ukraine not being an official member of NATO, should the US provide more foreign aid, keep the amount the same, or shift our focus towards the airspace? Each one of these options have possible benefits and possible drawbacks, and we must think carefully before acting to try and prevent as much death and destruction as possible. So where does my role within the Department of Energy fit regarding this international conflict? Well, to start, the DOE has a broad set of objectives and jurisdiction. In fact, the DOE is the largest federal sponsor of basic research into the physical sciences. We want to foster scientific development and increase nationwide energy efficiency. We are also in charge of maintaining a safe and secure stockpile of nuclear weapons, but another department builds and tests the nuclear arms. The DOE is also in control of our environmental response to past and future nuclear tests and accidents. The first possible solution is for us to provide full direct defense to Ukraine, including by committing US ground troops to Ukraine and calling on NATO allies to do the same. This has the capacity to decisively end the war, which would stop the destruction of Ukraine and also prevent further destruction from spreading into other countries. However, this comes at the risk of escalating the conflict, which could increase the already large amount of destruction and lead to an even larger body count. Our second option is for the USA to provide limited direct defense to Ukraine, including by declaring a no-fly zone over some or all of Ukraine's airspace. This could help protect civilians and also reduce Russia's strength in the air. Due to the lack of direct ground support, it also reduces the risk towards American troops. Unfortunately, if Russia elects to ignore the no-fly zones, NATO could be brought in, which would then escalate the conflict even more. The only way to enforce the no-fly zones is for NATO members to target and monitor Russian aircraft, which could provide us with leverage of predicting upcoming attacks by tracking the movements and consolidating our counterintelligence. However, tracking and monitoring are a toothless option if we don't plan on backing up our words with actions, which means we have to be seriously prepared for Russia to disregard our limitations and react appropriately. Our final option is to continue providing indirect defense, including by supplying Ukraine with arms, intelligence, and financial assistance. This maintains the current status quo and prevents sudden changes in policy, which might otherwise create tension. However, the lack of decisive action leaves Ukraine more vulnerable to further aggressive invasion from Russia, which may lead to the war spreading to NATO's borders, with destruction following. As the war wages on, it is important for us to act quickly and intelligently. If we take too long to enact action, more people will die or be displaced. But if we act too quickly, we're liable to fail from unexpected challenges we did not prepare for. I believe that we should continue to provide indirect defense in order to maintain stability, while also enacting no-fly zones over key civilian and strategic areas in order to indicate that we are allying ourselves with Ukraine and they have our military support. If Russia violates the no-fly zones or tries to encroach on NATO borders. There is historical precedent showing that giving land away to authoritarians does not placate them and prevent future invasions. Instead, it emboldens them and gives them resources to take even more land. NATO was created in response to protect ourselves and our allies from the Soviet Union, a purpose that reflects modern issues with Russia. As the Secretary of Energy, I must strongly discourage the use of nuclear arms in war, due to both the destruction we would cause and the destruction we could receive back. Russia currently has a larger number of nuclear weapons than the US. However, within NATO allyship, the US, France, and the United Kingdom have a combined total that is greater than Russia alone. If all-out nuclear warfare occurs, it is unlikely that there would be borders for anyone to defend in the first place. In summary, the war in Ukraine has been ongoing for around 3 years, and unless we do something, it is likely to continue far into the future. We should provide indirect help through supplies, along with instituting no-fly zones over the most critical areas, with the threat of further action if Russia attempts to infringe upon those areas. Thank you. This has been Alex Adams, the Secretary of Energy.